Okay, here's a simple program that I'm going to use to demonstrate how to use the debugger in Visual Studio. You can see there's two integers, x and y. I'm going to call a function called getValues. It's going to jump out here, ask the user to enter x and y. You can see the reference parameters, so it'll pass those values back to main. And then I'm going to call display values, which will take x and y, and it will display them out to the screen. So I'm going to run it just so you can see what it does, and keep in mind the debugger only helps you find logical errors. It doesn't help you find syntax errors. Your program has to compile. Okay, so that's really all it does. So what I'm trying to demonstrate here is the process. Okay, so I'm going to come to the debug menu and I'm going to choose step into. And this will step into my code. It'll step into the main program, and then I can use these two keys, F11 and F10, to go through my program. And I'll explain the difference between the two. F11 is used to step into a function, so you only want to use that if you're executing a function call that you want to go into. And step over will just step over the function call. So it'll execute the function, but it won't jump into it. And I'll demonstrate the difference between the two. So I'm going to hit F11, and you can see this yellow arrow here, right? That tells me where I am in my main program. And now I'm just going to start hitting F10. Oops. And you can see it moves down to here, the next line in my main program. And so now this is a function call, so I'm going to hit F11 and we come into the function. Now I just want to show you at the bottom what we have down here is what's called the watch window, and you can see right now my variables x and y, they're just undefined, so they have these values in them. So you'll be able to see the value of those variables as it changes. So again, now I'm back to F10, 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 and this is going to open up my output window, so I'll just type 5. And when I do that, at the bottom, you can see now x is 5. I can also run my mouse over x to see that it's 5. Okay, and again, F10, F10, this is going to let me enter y. Let's put 6 in here. And F10, and now it goes back to the main program. And now in main, you can see x is 5 and y is 6. You can see those values down here as well. Okay. Now, if I want to, again, I can just hit, F10, and now I'm on a function call, so I can hit F11, and it can bring me into this function where I continue to just hit F10. And this function ends, and the program will end at that point. At any point, I don't think you can see it on my screen. Let me see if I can move down for a minute. You'll see down here the icon for the output window. So if you don't see it, you can always pop it back up if you want to, or minimize it to get out of your way during this process. Also, you'll notice up here, if at any point you want to stop debugging, you can just hit this red icon, or in the debug menu, right, you can choose stop debugging. They both do the same thing. Okay. You can, so I'll just show you if I wanted to, let's say I knew that get values worked, but there was a problem in display values. I could do debug, step into, and then if I wanted to, I'm right here, so I'm going to hit F10. Instead of hitting F11 here, because it's a function call, I'll just hit F10. Okay, and probably nothing's happening because it's waiting in my output window, so I'll just put some values in here. And then I'll come down to here. You can see the yellow arrow. And then I could hit a F11 to jump into display values. So if I hit F10 on a function call, it's going to execute the function, but I'm just not going to jump into the function. So, you can see here's my values, 33 and 44. So again, I can hit F11 which will bring me into the function, right? And then I can trace through here. Okay, so I'm going to stop debugging, and the other option that you have when you're using the debugger is you can click over in the left hand margin and create what's called a breakpoint. So now if I do debug and start debugging, it's just going to run the program to that point. And now you can see it stops here, and then I can start doing F10 and 11 from the breakpoint on. So again, if I feel like I know this function works and I just want to start here, I have the ability to do that. Okay, so I mean, you can do a little bit more advanced things, but that's the basic way to work your way through the debugger. Once you start to get a lot of variables, you'll notice here you have this locals window that generates. Okay, so here on this locals tab, again, you'll see just all the variables that are currently in the scope. Like right now, X and Y are the scope of the main program. But if you had a lot of variables in main, you get a lengthy list. So you can click on this watch tab. This creates a watch window. And let's say I just want to watch X, for instance. I could just see what's happening. Like if I think there's a problem with X, I can just watch X in my program. Or you can go back and watch everything. So it's good to just, and again, I'm going to stop debugging. Okay. And you can just click over on this breakpoint to make it go away for the next time. So it's all really easy to use. Just try and practice a little bit.